And now, Wave fans, get on your feet and let's hear you as we introduce your six-time champion, Milwaukee Wave.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brad Beach.
A goalkeeper from Holland, number 1, Marcel Veenstra.
A forward from Wisconsin, number 2, Tenzin Rampa.
A defender from Ivory Coast, number 6, Judson McKinney.
A defender from Brazil, number 8, Fabinho.
A midfielder from Brazil, number 12, Pablo.
A forward from Spain, number 14, Nick Pereira.
A defender from Milwaukee, number 15, Tony Walls.
A forward from Uruguay, number 18, Carlos Munoz.
A midfielder from Argentina, number 20, Marcelo Fontana.
A midfielder from British Columbia, number 21, Juliano Oliviero.
A midfielder from Mexico, number 23, Victor Quiros.
A forward from Canada, number 26, Ian Bennett.
A defender from South Africa, co-captain number 28, Jonathan Greenfield.
A midfielder from Wisconsin, number 29, JC Banks.
A midfielder from Brazil, number 77, Marcio Leite.
On the bench in his 22nd season as the head coach of the Milwaukee Wave, Keith Tozier. He's assisted by Juliano Oliviero and goalkeeper coach Mark Litton.
Also on the bench in his 30th season, the original member of the Wave organization, athletic trainer Larry Sales. And tonight, Sendik's captain of the game is Braden Heilert. It's time for today's Freighters and the Medical College of Wisconsin Scratch Report. Not playing in tonight's game, Nick Vorberg, Everton, Philip Surprise, Andy Hackbart, and Luan Libera. The pregame Scratch Report is brought to you by the Freighters and Medical College of Wisconsin, where the finest minds in medicine have their minds on you.
hosting the St. Louis Ambush. And a pleasant good evening, everyone. Tom Wynn, along with Wave Hall of Famer Art Kramer, will bring you all the play-by-play action from tonight's game. Art, first matchup of the year between the Wave and the expansion Ambush. Milwaukee coming in at 4-1. Wave saw their season-opening 4-game winning streak come to an end with a 15-6 loss to the Missouri Comets in Independence last week. Meanwhile, the Ambush also coming off a loss at Missouri. They're now 2-4, but they showed some pretty good signs of life here in their expansion season, and it all begins with their coach, Daryl Duran.
Well, Daryl Duran is Mr. Soccer, indoor soccer from the St. Louis area, one of the greatest players to ever play indoor soccer. He's played more games in the MISL than any other player, 827. So while Coach Duran has a lot of experience, the challenge he has is his team is very inexperienced. And so Coach Duran's going to have to be patient with this group. And a big key tonight for St. Louis is getting off to a good early start in the first quarter. In the games they've won, the 2 games they've won, they've outscored their opponent 13-0. In the 4 games they've lost, they've been outscored 20-0. They're also going to need an A-plus game.
Cellular Arena in downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's the Major Indoor Soccer League tonight. The Milwaukee Wave hosting the St. Louis Ambush. And a pleasant good evening, everyone. Tom Wynn, along with Wave Hall of Famer Art Kramer, will bring you all the play-by-play action from tonight's game. Art, first matchup of the year between the Wave and the expansion Ambush. Milwaukee coming in at 4-1. Wave saw their season-opening 4-game winning streak come to an end with a 15-6 loss to the Missouri Comets in Independence last week. Meanwhile, the Ambush also coming off a loss at Missouri. They're now 2-4, but they've shown some pretty good signs of life here in their expansion season, and it all begins with their coach, Daryl Duran.
Well, Daryl Duran is Mr. Soccer, indoor soccer from the St. Louis area, one of the greatest players to ever play indoor soccer. He's played more games in the MISL than any other player, 827. So while Coach Duran has a lot of experience, the challenge he has is his team is very inexperienced. And so Coach Duran's going to have to be patient with this group. And a big key tonight for St. Louis is getting off to a good early start in the first quarter. In the games they've won, the 2 games they've won, they've outscored their opponent 13-0. In the 4 games they've lost, they've been outscored 20-0. They're also going to need an A-plus game by former Milwaukee Wave United goalkeeper Jeff Ritchie if they want to stay in the game tonight.
Ritchie, one of the few Ambush members who has some major experience in this league. Ambush again at 2-4, 1-2 at home, 1-2 on the road, and they've got 12 St. Louis natives compiling their 16-man roster. Okay, Art, on the other side, Wave off to a good start this year, but coming off a tough one against the Missouri Comets. What's Keith Tozer and company looking to do to try and get things turned around in tonight's game?
Yeah, well, I spoke to Coach Tozer earlier today, and Coach said that they just need to worry about themselves here tonight. If they spread the floor, if they counterattack well, if they move the ball quickly, get into the box, he feels that they should be in business here tonight against an expansion club.
This kicks off a 2-game homestand for the Wave. This is only their second home game of the year. Again, Milwaukee at 4-1. They are 3-1 on the road and 1-0 here at the U.S. Cellular Arena, having defeated the Baltimore Blast in the home opener a couple of weeks ago. Again, Wave will also be home for the annual New Year's Eve Day game. That's coming up on Tuesday, December 31st, when they host the Syracuse Silver Knights right here at 2 o'clock. And again, call the Wave office for tickets, 414-224-WAVE, or check it out at MilwaukeeWave.com. Stay with us. We're coming back with more. This is Wave Soccer. And here we go from the U.S. Cellular Arena. Wave in the home blacks against the St. Louis Ambush. In the visiting white jersey, St. Louis, you see, has it, goes left to right. Crowd still filing in here to the U.S. Cellular Arena. Should be a pretty good crowd here tonight. Ambush will knock it back to their keeper. The veteran Jeff Ritchie, certainly we're familiar with him, Art, back in the days of Wave United. Ian Bennett the other way. Ian's shot was blocked by Sherman. Go ahead, Art.
Now, Jeff made more saves than any keeper in the MISL last year playing for Chicago. And he's been called on to make a truckload of saves this year already with the Ambush.
Yeah, I was going to say his experience from last year I think is going to serve him well so far this year. The Ambush are not exactly an airtight defensive team, but they can score some points. And as we talked about before the broadcast, this is a team that will keep coming at you. Drive by Marcio Liete is high and wide. Rebound taken by Nick Pereira for the Wave. Here you see Big Nick, the third-year man out of UCal Santa Barbara. Victor Quitos with it now. The Mexican native will feed it in. Pereira trying to turn. Pereira shot, and he scores! Kind of a change-up knuckler that caught Ritchie by surprise. And the Wave jumps out to the 2-0 lead.
Well, if the Ambush is going to stay in this game, they can't have things like that happen. A soft goal there by Jeff Ritchie. You see the bouncing shot by Pereira. Ritchie gets his right hand on it, his left hand, excuse me, but it trickles in behind him. And a soft goal here, just a minute and 18 seconds in for the Wave.
Pereira will get his 5th of the year. Victor Quitos with the assist. And for Quitos, that is his 2nd assist and 2nd point of the year. So the Wave jumping out to the early 2-0 lead. Back to the action. Fabinho gets it pried away as Matt Kimball was maneuvering with it there. Now keeping it alive is Vandegrift. Back out to Mike Roach for a shot. Deflects up in the air, taken by Marcel Feenstra. Feenstra, the Dutch native, making his 2nd start of the year. Nick Warburg has played all the other games for Milwaukee thus far. There's a blast that's just off the mark on a shot that was launched that time by Tim Vance. Far side as they scrap for it there. As you see Judson McKinney, number 6 to the Wave, getting tangled up eventually. Jonathan Greenfield clears out near side and collision to the near board. Foul is going to be called. That's Chad Vandegrift.
Well, Vandegrift, a physical player. They've got a number of physical players to play in the back. Vandegrift, Mike Mesley. Mesley apparently is out of tonight's game. Chris Mattingly, another guy, another St. Louisan that plays in the back for the Ambush.
Ian Bennett with a shot, rebound, score! As plowing through to convert on the play for Milwaukee was J.C. Banks. Banks, the rookie out of UW Green Bay, son of former Wave star Jimmy Banks, and he makes it 4-0 Milwaukee.
Well, part of the Ambush's problem has been getting proper position defensively. Watch this time as Banks runs right in front of Vandegrift. Chad's got to get himself goal side in front of Ritchie. He allows Banks to get the inside position on him, and quickly it's 4-0 Wave.
JC gets his third goal of the season. Second two-pointer of the year to go along with a three-pointer. Ian Bennett will pick up his first assist to go along with 8 goals. And Milwaukee off and flying here, as you see Daryl Duran talking with his troops on the St. Louis bench.
Well, not the start that Daryl wanted, obviously. Quickly he takes a timeout. But once again, the young St. Louis defenders, and that time it was Van de Griff, have got to get better defensive position inside their own box. He let J.C. Banks that time run right in front of him and has easy tap-in past Ritchie.
St. Louis, 6th in the 17 MISL, allowing 15 points per game. They're 5th offensively as well, averaging 10-7. Again, scoring 64 total, giving up 90 total. The Wave, meanwhile, 3rd in the league both offensively and defensively, averaging 14 per game, giving up 10. So they've outscored their opponents 70-50 in the first 5 games. There's Feenstra covering up. Marcel in his 7th season, Dutch native, as we talked about, and recording a victory in his only previous appearance. That was the season opener in Missouri, which the Wave won 23-21 in overtime. So his points against average a bit inflated at this stage, but we know Marcel, when given semi-regular activity, he's going to usually be one of the better goalkeepers in the league, as you saw Marcio Leite get called for the foul there. Jeff Ritchie, the Fort Wayne, Indiana native, who played his college soccer for the IP FW Mastodons. That ball sent down. Feenstra fields it easily. Now we'll lay it off for Pablo. Works on the far side, Munoz. He'll launch it in for Pereira, trying to post up. But the ball trickles through to the near side. They work it up to O'Dane Sinclair. Sinclair, the rookie out of Baker University, where his coach there was longtime Kansas City star Nate Hauser. Now poked away. Munoz comes away with it. Carlos off to a great start in his first season with the Wave, 2nd overall. Remember, Munoz was the runner-up rookie of the year to the Waves' Luan Salas Oliveira last year, when Munoz was playing for the now defunct Chicago Soul. Ritchie under pressure, but he's able to nudge it upfield. Kiddos along the near board as he's battling there with Kyle Hobson. Ball is popped up and will go into the stands.
You mentioned Luan Oliveira, who is tonight, he's a healthy scratch. And when I asked Coach Tozer about it, he wouldn't elaborate any more than that this is a coach's decision that Luan is not in the lineup tonight for the Wave. Tenzin Rampa takes Luan's place in that Wave forward line.
Tenzin, the veteran forward out of UW Milwaukee, Madison native. And he's normally been pretty productive when given a chance to play. So we'll see what he can do tonight. Meanwhile, the ambush bring it up. Looped in. Sinclair off his chest. Then it's cleared out nicely as Munoz got a piece of that. Pereira at midfield. Ooh, he got the boot up. And he's going to be called for a dangerous play. Tim Tima making the call. He's working the game tonight with Ryan Sigic, 2 of the premier officials in the Major Indoor Soccer League working tonight's game. Timmy, of course, long time veteran defender, all-star many times during his playing career in the 80s and 90s. Cleveland area native.
Timmy, like Coach Daryl Duran, a former Defender of the Year.
There you get a look at Coach Duran. Looks exactly the same as he did 20 years ago, at least as far as his hair is concerned.
Well, Daryl was stretching before the game, and I said, Coach, are you going to suit up and play? He said, no chance. He played a little bit this morning with the guys, but I'll tell you what, the guy, no doubt, could still get out there and play very well in this league.
Turning shot from the top of the area was off the mark. Now follow-up, and that one just going high. Ambush putting on some pressure here, and the ball deflects out of bounds right there as Corey Adamson, the rookie out of USC Aiken, deflected it out. I'll tell you what, Brian Gork had a great left-footed crack from the top of the box that just missed, and follow-up nearly found the back of the mark as well. Fabinho cranks a 3. Jeff Ritchie there to make a save. Ritchie had a good look at it. able to turn it away.
And that's really the strength of Jeff Ritchie right there, is the shot-stopping ability. Where he gets himself in trouble at times is his distribution. He's got to be very careful playing these inexperienced ambush defenders the ball back in his own zone.
Mike Roach with it as he'll play it up on the far side. Ambush has to reload as they send it back to Ritchie. All the way downfield, it'll be taken by Feenstra. Just under 9 minutes to go, first period. Wave up 4-0. 2-point goals from Nick Pereira, his 5th of the year. J.C. Banks, his 3rd. The assists to Kitos and Bennett, respectively. Fabinho, the 37-year-old Brazilian native, drops it back to Leite. Now gets it back. Fabinho, quick shot. Knocked down Fabinho. Oh, and he didn't want to take the left foot shot, so he plays it back out. Looked like he had a good chance to step into it with the left footer. Elected not to, although he went off for a change. Leite's shot, partially deflected, picked up by Ritchie. Now Vandegrift on the near side. Spread it back to his goalkeeper. Pressure from the Waves. Marcelo Fontana, 40 years young, native of Misiones, Argentina. Vandegrift, getting harassed by Leite, is able to get it back to Ritchie, who struggles to go up with it, but there's no pressure on from Milwaukee. Wave backing off on the upfield pressure right now. Again, they'll mix it up at times throughout the game. Here's O'Dane Sinclair, big, strong forward. Shown well in his rookie year thus far. Shot taken by Kyle Hobson, deflects up into the stands, and we're going to have our media timeout. 7:46 left to go here in the first quarter. Milwaukee Wave 4, the St. Louis Ambush nothing. And let's send it to Elizabeth.
For Dennis. Brad Beach is here. All right, so Dennis here has a chance to win a free slice of pan-style pizza at Rocky Rococo if he can correctly answer this very difficult trivia question. It's not too hard, Dennis. You'll be fine. Are you nervous?
No.
All right. Okay, so this is the question. Rosemary Kennedy was the inspiration behind the international organization called Best Buddies. What state did Rosemary live in? Is it A, Wisconsin, B, California, C, New York, or D, Minnesota? What's your answer, Dennis? What do you guys think it is? All right, what do you think, Dennis?
A.
Wisconsin?
Yes.
That is correct. Let's give Dennis a round of applause. Congratulations. All right, guys, back to you.
Boy, I tell you, you got to like that Dennis's haircut. That harkens back to the early 90s.
Fresh Prince.
That is
Fresh
classic.
Prince of Milwaukee right there.
Absolutely, absolutely. He will be fending off the ladies in a few years to come. I can guarantee if he keeps the hair like that. All right, ambush of the restart. Again, they move it zone to the right. Mike Roach with a bouncing shot that deflects out. Follow-up taken by Mattingly. That one knocked away. And the Wave starts it back. Pablo over to Fontana. Now we'll lay it back as Pablo works it in. Pereira drops it back. Drive taken by Munoz off the mark. Carlos steps in to knock it away. It deflects out of bounds. And the ambush will keep it.
And you can see the ambush strategy is to basically park the bus in front of Jeff Ritchie with all 5 defenders back in their own zone. They've really played a couple different ways this year. They've done that. They fell behind Missouri doing that. And then once they went to high pressure, they were able to get back in the games a couple of times.
Well, there is Mike Roach to follow up after some good defensive pressure by Matt Kimball, who stayed with the play after initially having the shot blocked by Greenfield. And just like that, the ambush on the board, 4-2.
Timely goal that time by Michael Roach. Roach had come into the game and taken 27 shots and had scored only 1 goal. He averages an assist per game, but you see that time through the 5-hole, beating Feenstra to get the ambush on the board.
Roach's 2nd goal of the year. He's got 10 points on the season. Sinclair was their leading scorer with 18 coming in. And Matt Kimball gets the assist. That is his first point of his MISL career. Pereira sends it in off the board. Ritchie able to scoop it up before Jonathan Greenfield could pounce on it. So Wave lead cut to 2 at 4-2. Kiddos leads out to knock it away. Now Bennett starts upfield. He's got Pereira with him. Lays it back, Greenfield. Jonathan missed the first couple of games due to injury, but the veteran midfield defender, native South African, appears to be healthy coming into this one. Marcial Liete will track it down. Kiddos on the near wing. Rampa does well. Play it back out as Kiddos now will find Marcial Liete. Top of the area, trying to work it through to J.C. Banks. J.C.'s got one of the Wave goals tonight along with Nick Pereira. Fabinho back over to Banks. J.C., former star at Riverside High School and UW Green Bay. Oh, what a move there. Liete plays it off the inboard. Cleared out. And it just does bounce out of play. So Milwaukee will have to kick it in from the near line. Liete, Rampa tried to work the 1-2. Vandegrift there for St. Louis. Now Fabinho steps up. But O'Dane Sinclair able to win it. Play it upfield. Kiddos will get there.
One of the areas the Ambush has struggled in this year, Tom, is allowing counterattack opportunities, but so far, so good for Daryl Duran and his team. There haven't been many odd man rushes for the Wave thus far.
Pablo trying to draw the defense out at the arc. Now Fontana with it. Marcello, who came back to the Wave midway through last season after last playing with Milwaukee in the 9-10 campaign. We got a foul off the ball. I think they're going to get Brian Sell as he put down Munoz. I'll tell you, Carlos is taking his share of knocks here early in the season. At least one positive thing, Art, is he doesn't moan about it. He gets right back up, and that's part of the reason why he's been off to such a good start. Leading the Wave and scoring with 18 points, tied for 6th in the league, with St. Louis's O'Dane Sinclair coming in. Keith Tozer are going to call a timeout now and see if they can draw up something here on this restart opportunity.
Well, good position down deep on that left side. He wants to get the lefties on the field. One lefty you don't have is Oliveira today, but certainly Carlos Munoz is going to be a guy they're going to be looking to draw something up here for.
4:56 to go, first period, and Wave on top, 4-2. Don't forget Milwaukee right back here at the U.S. Cellular Arena this upcoming Tuesday, December 31st, for a 2 o'clock showdown with the Syracuse Silver Knights. Silver Knights, who are 5-1, they are the league leaders at this point, a half game up on the Wave of the Missouri Comets, so that's a big battle right there tonight in Missouri. And then they will move on to play St. Louis tomorrow afternoon at 3:35 at the Family Arena in St. Charles, and then come here Tuesday, December 31st for the 2 o'clock game against the Wave. Call the Wave office, 414-224-WAVE, for ticket information. You can also check it out online at MilwaukeeWave.com. I think this 3-game road trip is going to see what the Syracuse Silver Knights are all about, Art.
Yeah, well, their only loss this year came to the hands of the St. Louis Ambush in Syracuse. The Ambush jumped out to a 5-0 lead before winning that game 10-6, I believe.
Good chance here as Liete from a close angle will lay it off, and the shot and goal! Carlos Munoz converts, and the Wave back on top by 4 at 6-2. Well executed restart there.
Well, once again, the Ambush, the little details that they've really got to learn as this season goes along. And right there, the defender, I believe it was Chris Mattingly, watch him turn his back right here. You can't turn your back when you're trying to block a shot. You've got to stay strong, block the shot in front of Jeff Ritchie, and those little details are going to be critical for the Ambush to get better this year. Look at that. Turns out of the way, and that shot goes right past Jeff Ritchie.
Slide out or roll outs, but that was kind of in between.
Well, there's an old saying, Tom, pain is temporary, pride is forever, and you've got to have pride in this league. We know St. Louis, a prideful soccer city, and you want players that are going to sacrifice their bodies like a Daryl Duran used to do when he was a player. And that's the things that these young, inexperienced players are going to have to learn in this league if they want to be successful.
Munoz's 7th goal of the year. His 4th two-pointer. He's got a league-leading 3 3-pointers thus far. And Marcio Liete picked up his 5th assist. 6-2 Wave. Still 4.5 to go first period. Ian Bennett straight out to the near wing for Fontana. Getting pressure from Sinclair. He'll back it up to Feenstra. Now, the original plan, Keith Tozer said, was to play Feenstra tonight, Warburg on Tuesday, but Nick is nursing a bit of a thumb problem, so we'll have to see what his status is for Tuesday. But clearly, though, the Wave is in great hands either way. Again, you could argue they've got the 2 best goalkeepers in the league, both on the same squad.
Well, you're not going to have any argument from me because I believe they are the 2 best goalkeepers in the league.
Pereira trying to spin through. Oh, and a shot by McKinney just wide. Deflected out of bounds. They will call it a deflection and not an intentional clearance from the defensive zone. So no top of the arc restart. Keith Tozer now just finding this out from official Ryan Sigich, and I don't think he's too happy about it. Could have gone either way. Oh, cracked by Liete just underneath the crossbar. Unlucky for Marcio. A laser off the free kick, hit underneath the bar, but would not go across the line.
Surprised Jeff Ritchie with that first-time crack, and Ritchie with the hands down allowed that ball to get above him underneath that crossbar. Got to get those hands up on the restart.
Crossbar is 8 feet high. That shot was about 8 feet and a 16th. Leite double team. Will back it up. Kiddos now finds Nick Pereira. Moves it across. McKinney thinking about it. He will shoot a 3. That one just off Pereira. Battling for the rebound. As he got tied up that time with Sherman, then eventually Ritchie was able to get it.
Good defensive play that time by Sherman to make himself big in front of Jeff Ritchie and win that physical battle.
Ritchie will chip to midfield. Roach heads it on. Ambush moving it up. Souls touch off the mark. And to the near board. Foul going to be called against the ambush. Check it out again as Judson McKinney, the former Cincinnati Bearcats, trying to move it up along the board. And pushed non so suddenly by Vandegrift. Back to the action. Kiddos. Kiddos, last couple of years in Wichita, was one of the main cogs for the Wings. Before that, he came into the MISL with the old Monterey teams and was a very effective player for them. Late challenge there by J.C. Banks, and the foul is called. Get a look at J.C., whose father was not only a solid player for the Wave back in the late 80s, early 90s, but also a former member of the U.S. national team. Oh, three-point blast by Roach, just missing by centimeters. Looked like Slow was kind of shaken up in the middle of the box for St. Louis, but he's back up now. Take away Liete as he runs upfield with Rampa. Marcio turning on the Jets as he comes on 2-on-3, and the shot up in the stands. But good burst that time by Marcio.
Good strike that last time by Michael Roach, number 16 of the ambush, off the restart. Roach, a former member of the New England Revolution in MLS.
First year indoor soccer for Roach, but it looks like he's adapting pretty quickly. Roach was a college star for the SLU Billikens a few years ago. And believe me, they have sent many on in the professional ranks, including our good buddy and recently retired former captain of the Wave, Joe Hamas, former SLU Billiken. Ritchie is able to somehow keep his feet in the box and take that one away from Munoz. Upfield to Sinclair. He's battling with Tony Walls against the board. Sinclair spins away. O'Dane Sinclair coming in with a shot save made by Feenstra. Acosta with the rebound. He'll play it back out to midfield.
You saw that spin that time by Sinclair along the boards, and J.C. Banks has got to understand that that's his tendency. his tendency is going to be to spin you and turn and try to shoot. That's what he does. And so JC that time a little too close to O'Dane, and O'Dane was able to spin him along the boards.
Now taken away by Fontana. 2-on-3 with Munoz. Marcello cut off on the far side by Vance, will drop it back. And now Walls keeps it alive. They go all the way back to Feenstra. Good possession there by the Wave. They recycle with 30 seconds to go in the period, leading 6-2. Fabinho, entry pass. Pereira draws a double team, lays it back. Munoz whacks it, deflecting wide. Carlos got a piece of it. Pereira gets it back. Shot off the mark. Rebound, follow. There we go! Fabinho! And the Wave leads it 8-2.
Well, once again, the Ambush need to move their feet defensively inside their own box. That time Vandegrift loses the ball and then just stands there. And you see that time Adamson once again turning your back defensively and no chance for Ritchie. You see right there 3 Ambush players standing around. Saw Vandegrift to the left of your screen. Got to recover and react once the ball is lost inside your own area.
His official name, Fabio Ribeiro. We know him as Fabinho, and he gets his first goal of the year. Also has an assist for 3 points. Nick Pereira will get the assist as the clock ticks down here in the first period. Good first period for the Wave. You talked about getting off to a good start, Art. And Keith Tozer and the fellas, pretty good start here tonight. At the end of our first 15 minutes, it's the Milwaukee Wave 8, the St. Louis Ambush 2. We'll take a break, come back with the second quarter. This is Wave Soccer.
When you have things that you simply cannot afford to lose, well, you buy the best insurance you can get. Let's say you choose West Bend's Home and Highway policy. If your family's pet is injured in an accident, your policy automatically provides coverage for veterinarian expenses and the cost to adopt another pet if yours doesn't pull through. Some things could never be replaced, but if something bad does happen, West Bend will do whatever it takes to get you back on your paws or feet, whatever the case may be.
Okay, and let's go down to Elizabeth on the field.
All right, Wave fans, we've got a really cool contest we're going to do right now. This is not impossible, but it's a fun little giveaway. This is going to be the Reign of Vespa giveaway. Brad Beach took a spill. That is the Vespa.
Give it up for Brad Beach. Woo!
That's the Vespa that Cindy from Oshkosh or Lauren from Oak Creek could win. What they need to do is kick a soccer ball into the Reign of Vespa slot for a chance to win that Vespa. All right, let's give Cindy a big round of applause. Cindy, are you ready? All right, give it a kick. Let's see how you do. Oh, is there a curve? Is it going to turn? Oh, nice try. All right, Lauren from Oak Creek. Give it a kick. Give it your best shot. Ready, set, kick. Oh, nice try. Let's give Cindy and Lauren a big round of applause. And let's give Brad Beach a big round of applause because he took quite the spill on that Vespa. Thanks, guys. All right, let's go Wave.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the first period. That was the first goal there by Pereira. There's a better look at it there. Kind of a changeup. Didn't get it all, but Jeff Ritchie unable to keep it out of there after it deflected off his left arm. That put Milwaukee up 2-0. Then a little bit later on the period, Wave scored again as J.C. Banks crashing the hole after the shot by Bennett. St. Louis would come back. The only goal scored there by Mike Roach, but then the Wave answered on the restart goal, Munoz from Liete. So get another look at it there. And then Fabinho following up on the rebound, getting his first goal of the year. So that's where we stand. Milwaukee 8, St. Louis 2. Tom went along with Wave Hall of Famer Art Kramer, bringing you the action here tonight from the U.S. Cellular Arena. first meeting ever between the Wave and this version of the Ambush. But, of course, aren't we harking back to the old days when the Wave and the Ambush used to meet in the old NPSL, had some good battles.
And this is a different team than the old Ambush. You know, guys like Kevin Hundelt and Coach Duran and Mark Moser, Steve Kuntz, Steve Maurer, Joe Reiniger, players like that with the experience to play in this league. Those were battles. This is going to be a real challenge for Coach Duran to have the patience to stick with these players and try to teach them during the season.
Oliviero on the restart plays it into Ian Bennett. Ian double teamed to the corner now as he keeps working to try to pry it out of there. And eventually the Ambush do as Sinclair feeds it up ahead. Brian Gork with it there. Gork, as we said, the nephew of former St. Louis star Kevin Gork. Brian, a rookie out of SIU Edwardsville, another school that's produced a fair amount of professional players.
Great soccer family, the Gorks. I played with Tom Gork back in the day. Was a fantastic player. I played with him on the Midwest team, the Olympic Sports Festival.
And we get a whistle on a play, and not sure what's going on here, Art. As you see Keith Tozer inquiring. Ryan Siggetz, one of the officials, went over to talk to the St. Louis bench. And are they going to get St. Louis for too many men on the field, perhaps? That's what it looks like. So at 1:03 of the second period, we will have our first penalty of the contest. St. Louis for too many men on the field. And the Wave will go on the power play. As you saw Matt Kimball come over to serve the penalty. Milwaukee so far, 2 for 7 on the power play, 28.6%, fifth best in the league. Ambush has stopped 8 of 12, 67%. They're sixth in the league, and they've got one shorthand goal scored so far this year. The Wave has given up one shorthander. Kudos, Bennett, Oliviero, Liete, and Munoz, the power play unit for the Wave, as Ambush is able to clear downfield. We will set the Ambush penalty killers for you here in just a second. Liete works it to the right as he likes to go, and he hammers one in. When Marcio goes to his right.
And watch the way Brian Sell plays Marcio before the shot's taken. He shows him to his right foot, and you'll see it right here on the replay. And the Ambush missing Jeff DiMaria. Demo, their captain, out with tonight's game. He pulled his calf yesterday in training, and Demo is normally a guy that you'd see on the top of that man-down unit. And once again, the inexperience there to allow Liete to go to his right foot, and Marcio makes no mistake there.
So Marcio puts it away.
You can play Marcio Liete and try to take away his right foot, and he's still going to try to go right. To show him that way, his eyes lit up before he shot that ball.
They're saying unassisted. 10-2 Wave. 2 minutes gone by here in the second quarter. Jeff Ritchie will play it on the near side to Chris Mattingly. Pressure by Nick Pereira from the Wave. As Ritchie dumps it downfield, Kimball in the corner deflects off him and scooped up by Feinstra. Well, right now it is litmus time for the St. Louis Ambush. They're going to have to stand up here and prevent this deficit from getting any bigger if they're going to make a serious bid to get back in the game, and they might do it right now. 2-on-1 coming back. And the pass from Sherman to Roach broken up nicely by Marcelo Fontana. Could have been a chance there for St. Louis.
One thing we know about the Ambush, Tom, is they will not quit. They're going to fight, and they're going to fight, they're going to fight. That's what they do. Unfortunate they don't have their captain, Jeff DiMaria, with them tonight, because Demo is such a great role model for these younger players. The guy's all about working, keeps his mouth shut, and just works his tail off.
Oh, beautiful play there. Tenzin Ramp off the end board. And who is it but Fabinho scores again. A rare multiple goal outing for the veteran defender. Milwaukee leads it 12-2.
Well, a great little play that time by Tenzin Rampa in the lineup tonight, spinning early to the boards and now not allowing St. Louis to double team him. Fabinho cutting through the middle, and the ambush caught ball watching there. That time it was Adamson, number 4, who allowed Fabinho to find position. Actually, sorry, that was Corey Dow, number 5, who Fabinho beat into the box.
Second goal of the night and season for Fabinho, whose legs look much more youthful than his stated age of 37 thus far tonight. Tenzin Rampa gets his second assist. Tenzin has a goal and 2 assists. He's only played in 2 games. And as we talked about, Art, nearly every time he's in that lineup, he's going to find a way to get on the score sheet. Greenfield with it, moves it up. Liete's got some space. Marcio fakes it, crosses over, shot, save, Ritchie! Kept alive as Munoz flicks it back out. Oh, great save there by Jeff Ritchie as Liete made a nice move to get a good look from inside the box. Now the ambush get it back is Sinclair, the Jamaican native out of Baker University. Played it back. Ritchie will get it out for Brian Soule. You know, you talked about Di Maria not being here tonight. Doesn't appear if Dan Antoniak is in the lineup either, Art. He's another big veteran forward. Spent some time with the Wave last decade. And with him out of the lineup as well, you're again missing another key guy with experience. Probably their 2 most experienced guys beside Ritchie.
Well, you add Elver Kovedzik to that, and then also Mike Mesley. Mesley, one of the few guys with any indoor soccer experience, professional indoor soccer experience. And it really makes it a challenge for Coach Duran, Joe Smugala, and this ambush staff.
Mesley playing with the Wichita Wings last year, and he's been off to a good start so far for St. Louis this year. So the ambush, hopeful of getting it, at least somebody back for that game tomorrow against Syracuse. Again, 3:30 kickoff tomorrow in St. Charles.
Well, the players have to continue to listen to Coach Duran, to Demo, to Smuggs, the guys they got over there, and whoever else Darryl calls in to help, and Timmy Walters, Joe Reiniger, any of these guys who can be a resource to Coach Duran. These guys can help these players learn the game. The quicker they learn the little details of the game, the better off they're going to be.
Tony Walls trying to work his way to the area. Was thwarted on that occasion. Kept alive by Oliviero. They work it back out, J.C. Banks. Kudos with it now. Looks in, Oliviero off the board, coming through, shot a goal! Oh, nice execution there as Giuliano played it off the boards to Munoz. Wave leads it 14-2.
Another indoor soccer goal that time by the Wave as they use the boards effectively. Oliviero that time. And Munoz finishes it off. No chance for Ritchie that time.
Second goal of the night for Carlos, his 8th of the year. He's the Waves' leading scorer with 22 points. And Giuliano Oliviero, Old Man River, keeps right on rolling. His 4th assist of the year. 8 points for the Waves player assistant coach. And right now, it's starting to look like a blowout. But again, we got plenty of time to go here in the second period. And as you pointed out, Art, St. Louis, if nothing else, they've got youth on their side. They will keep running. And, they have shown the ability to score some goals. This isn't like you're playing the Reading Roar, which really would have no capability of coming back at this point. The winless Roar at 0-8 and really non-competitive at this point of the season. But St. Louis, a little different story. They at least can score a few goals.
Yeah, down 10-0 earlier this season against Missouri, came roaring back to tie that game at 10 before eventually losing in overtime. But once again, you've got a team made up of almost all St. Louisans. A lot of pride with this team.
Bennett turning shot just wide. Fontana with the rebound. Will play it back out. Fabinho now works it over. Pablo. Bennett. Ian. A couple of step overs. Cracks a shot at Jeff Ritchie, just able to go down and corral that one.
got to think about where these kids grew up playing. Most of them played for Scott Gallagher, tremendous youth club in St. Louis. They've won national championships. They played for the Billikens, big-time high school players. And this is a learning experience for them. These are some of the best players in professional indoor soccer.
Well, again, you have had a tradition of indoor soccer in St. Louis, albeit with several different teams, several different versions of the Steamers and the Ambush, but at least these guys have grown up with, at least the working knowledge of the game. And like you said, Art, if they get some experience, they could definitely turn things around here pretty quickly.
And you've got to fix the issues one step at a time. It's a process. And so every training session this team has is critical, that they learn one more detail, small detail of the game that's going to help them down the road.
Greenfield with it over to Leite. Marcio gets it back from Greenfield, trying to get through. Good sliding tackle there by Roach. And now foul going to be called on Greenfield as he dumps Matt Kimball. You get a look at Greenfield. Great to have Jonathan back again this year. The veteran out of Cape Town, South Africa.
Well, technically, this team is as good, if not better, than they've ever been. You look at Victor Quiros in the back, Jonathan Greenfield. They've got guys coming out of the back that are just superior with the ball than most of the players in the league.
Acosta tees one up, and it's blocked down. Andres Acosta, who was just signed by this team, cracking one from three. That did not find its way through. Quiros will bring it up as he gets it over to Munoz. Well, we were very impressed with Carlos Munoz last year, Art, as a member of the Chicago team. And he has looked very good here in the early going this year. Oliviero with a shot, just wide. Rebound. And the Ambush will eventually clear it. Now, Feenstra comes out to challenge and is just able to deflect away. As I'm not sure who that was charging downfield. It was Brian Sell.
Let's hope Brian's all right. Not a good decision that time by Marcel to come off his line.
Check it out again. Ooh. And Marcel probably fortunate he did not get a blue card there.
Yeah, and a shootout, because it definitely was a foul just because of the decision. He wasn't there in time and got a piece of Sell.
Check it again from the end zone angle. Well, he did not get him in the facial area as it appeared from the side, so that's good.
No intent there by Feenstra to take out the charging Sell, but just not a good decision to come off your line.
Yeah, I thought at first start he might have taken one up along the cheekbone there, but you see that they're looking at his leg. And again, hopefully Brian's going to be okay. All this happening with 6:32 left to go in the first half. The Wave leading 14-2.
Well, that bench down there on the St. Louis side is getting pretty thin, Tom. We talked about some of the injuries they already have. Dan Antonio, Elvir Kafedzik, Mike Mesley, Jeff DiMaria, and now Brian Sell. This is virtually all their players with any indoor professional experience are the guys that are going down, and that hurts you even more.
As you see Brian Sell getting up and able to walk off on his own power, so hopefully he's going to be okay. Well, the Milwaukee Wave Futsal League. Let's check it out one more time as you see the collision. The Wave Futsal League, Art, has enrolled a total of 125 players, which is the largest first-year futsal league in the country. And again, they'll be taking place at 3 sites throughout the Milwaukee area: University of Lake School in Heartland, University School in River Hills, and Badger High School down in Lake Geneva. For more information, check it out on the Wave website, MilwaukeeWave.com. Wave working it out of the zone as we get back to the action. Oliviero coming up. Giuliano tried to play it in the middle as he was looking for J.C. Banks. Cleared out. Wave will cycle it back at midfield. Oliviero working against Vandegrift. Giuliano began his indoor career back in 1995-96 with the Wave. Played 2 years initially with Milwaukee. Then 5 more after that between Cleveland, Toronto, and Montreal before coming back to the Wave in the 03-04 campaign. He's been back ever since. Promoted to assistant coach a few years ago. Tony Walls has just dumped off the ball with no call. Meanwhile, Pereira with it. Back heel to Bennett trying to flash through, but the ambush taken away. St. Louis trying to press up for a 3v3. And a great job by Walls to step up and block that one. Excellent job by Tony Walls as he shrugs off Vance. And I think Tony had a little pent-up energy from the lack of a call back here the other way before, when he was just thrown down off the ball with no call. Walls, the native out of Wauwatosa, all-state player at Wauwatosa East High School, and of course went on to have a great collegiate career along with J.C. Banks at UW Green Bay.
Well, the one thing you like about Walls and Banks is just their composure on the ball. Very calm and cool young players.
Rampa trying to shield off his defender as Leite has it. Now Marcio will touch it over for Pablo. Looks in. Rampa with it. Benson cycles it back out to Leite. Wave has had the possession for about 85% of this game thus far. Marcio to his right. Took a check from Sinclair as he took the shot. Fontana grabs it out. I'll tell you right now, this group for St. Louis has got to be getting tired. They've been out there a long time now. They'll finally get to change a couple as the ball got knocked back upfield. Always want to be careful changing when the other team has the ball. Leite with it. Challenged by Roach. Drops it back. Munoz now looking in. Turning. Oliviero. Oh, shot just off the mark. Unlucky for Giuliano. As he made a nice turn there with the left foot. Leite touches it in. Jules to the corner now as he is getting marked aggressively down there by Acosta. And again, Milwaukee recycling the possession.
And we said one of the keys for the Wave was going to be quick ball movement, and now more than ever, winning by 12 points. You dwell on the ball, you are going to get whacked. So keep it 1 and 2 touch, keep the ball moving.
As we saw Brian Groark go down to the floor that time. It's been physical out there, but Tim Tima, Ryan Siggich keeping it under control. Just one penalty. That was St. Louis for too many men in the field early in this period. The Wave was able to score the power play goal from Marcio Leite. That made it 10-2 at the time, and now it's 14-2. Pereira, Banks, Roach, Munoz with a pair, Fabinho with a pair, and Leite, the goal scorers for Milwaukee. And Roach, the lone goal scorer for St. Louis.
It'll be interesting to see what Coach Duran does in the second half. He certainly hasn't abandoned parking the bus in front of Richie, although they're down 12 points. And remember, they have a game tomorrow at home against Syracuse. So you try to pressure the Wave in the second half with a very small bench as it is.
Roach lays it off far side. Shot save! Feinstra, he covers up. Nice job by Marcel. He hasn't been tested too much in this first half, but he made a nice save there. They scrap for it to the near part of the zone as eventually the ambush clear the zone, but we get a foul called against the Wave.
Good save that time by Feenstra on Vandegrift as the ambush with a nice counterattack. But getting back to the point, that's the dilemma for Darryl is, do you pressure in the second half knowing you have a game tomorrow? As you take a look at Coach Duran there on the St. Louis bench. You do that and you waste a lot of valuable energy you're going to need in front of your home crowd there at the Family Arena.
Pablo hustles back to head that one away as Tony Walls gets it. This is actually Tony's home debut for the Wave. Remember, he was sitting out a red card suspension when the Wave played Baltimore back here on December 7th. From a red card that he had incurred in the previous game at Reading.
In a altercation with Tom Myers from Reading, and if my memory serves me correct, what did Myers got 3 or 4 games?
Well, I think it was initially 4, but they cut it to 2.
Oh, they cut it to 2. Okay.
So Tom was able to talk his way into half a suspension after the initial 4-game. You get suspended for 4 games in this league. That's 20% of the season. speaking of the lowly roar, they actually did give Syracuse, or rather Rochester, a pretty good battle last night in Rochester, only losing 10-5. Bennett with a shot turned away.
Good save that time by Jeff Ritchie.
Jeff has had his work cut out for him tonight.
Well, I like the veteran players that Darryl has on his side. Jeff Ritchie, Jeff DeMaria, Dan Antonia. These guys are just class guys. They're not going to be guys that complain. They are going to be good role models for these younger players. So a good group of veterans that Darryl has brought here to St. Louis.
Leite plays it in to Pablo. His blast is high. Kudos will get it back. We talked about the Wave in their upcoming home game against the Syracuse Silver Knights. Again, that's Tuesday, December 31st, the annual New Year's Eve day game, 2 o'clock Central Time right here at the U.S. Cellular Arena. Call the Wave office for tickets, 414-224-WAVE, or check it out, MilwaukeeWave.com, as Nick Pereira is going to be called for the foul there. Then after Milwaukee goes on the road to take on St. Louis on Saturday, January 4th, that's a 1:35 game at the Family Arena in St. Charles, Missouri. They'll be back home, Wave will be, to face the Rochester Lancers on Saturday, January 11th. That's a 6 o'clock game right here at the Cell. Former Wave player Josh Reif brings his Rochester Lancers into town as Fontana drives one in! Shot on the goal!
2 or 3 there, Tom, because that ball deflected in off the ambush defender. I couldn't tell if Fontana was behind the arc. Remember, they do have the ability to review these shots that are close to being 3-pointers. We'll take another.
Well, they're going to give Leite credit on a beautiful spinning back heel volley. And I agree with you, Art. I could not tell at first if Marcio got it, but this would be quite a conversion if he did it.
Oh,
look at that.
It was.
Look at that. I'll tell you, Marcio takes back seat to nobody on that conversion right there, on a deflected ball, no less.
Very nice.
That is big time right there, as he tallies at 14-36 to put Milwaukee up 16-2. And the rout continues. Now Bennett coming up with Greenfield 2-on-2 with 12 seconds to go.
I thought that ball hit Hobson and went in, but Marcio with a nice deflection. Once again, Hobson has got to get position there.
He's had a tough first half, as has most of the ambush defensively. Sinclair shot up in the stands. That will do it for the first half. Wave puts up 8 in each of the first 2 quarters to just the lone 2-point goal for the ambush. At the end of the first half, it's the Milwaukee Wave 16, the St. Louis Ambush 2. We'll take a break and come back for the second half. This is Wave Soccer.
Dear MKE is a love letter to the city of Milwaukee. It started actually as a series of short and brilliant documentaries, and then it grew into a chance for anyone who calls Milwaukee home to tell its stories. And who tells our stories better than us? Well, no one. So if you love the people, the places, the events, the parties that happen here, the sports teams, then tell us your story. Write it down. Take a picture with your phone. Take a picture with your camera. Make a video. And then just upload it. DearMKE.com.
This season, it'll be even easier to submit photos, videos, and stories.
Now that Dear MKE is mobile, wherever you go, you can share what you love about Milwaukee right from your phone.
Milwaukee is a great city with some fantastic views, but it is spectacular from the seat of a Harley-Davidson.
As part of my job, I get to see every part of the city, from north side to south side, east side to west side. And there are fascinating people and places everywhere. But as you can imagine, I get to spend a lot of time right here.
My favorite place to take photos? Downtown Milwaukee. Anywhere, really. I see a photo I like, and I share it on Instagram and Twitter at #DearMKE. It automatically uploads to Dear MKE. How easy is that?
My favorite thing to share on Dear MKE? One guess.
Milwaukee's a great place for young professionals to start a career and to have a little fun while we're at it.
So we're almost done, but not quite. You know why? We don't have your submission. We need your point of view. So go out there and find the people, the places, the events that make this city so endearing. And tell those stories. Write them up. Take a picture. Make a video if you can. And then just upload it to DearMKE.com. Or just use the hashtag DearMKE on Instagram or Twitter. You can win prizes, sure, but the more important thing is that you can expose so many more great things about this city that we all love. I cannot wait to see your submission.
Wave on top, 16-2, as we take a look at the first half highlights. Got going early on the goal there by Nick Pereira. Little changeup that deflected off the arm of Jeff Ritchie. Probably not a good omen for Ritchie the rest of that half.
Well, not the start you needed from Jeff Ritchie if you were going to stay in this one. And actually, that first quarter, the Ambush gave up a goal early, and then they gave up a goal with just 13 seconds left.
J.C. Banks made it 4-0. Marcel Feinstra didn't have to make too many saves, but that was the only goal that he allowed in the first half by Mike Roach. Carlos Munoz coming back to score on the restart pass from Leite. Take another look at that. And then it was Fabinho, the first of 2 on the night. He only averages about 2 or 3 goals per season, so he's got 2 already in the first half. Beautiful play there as Wave would keep it on. Coming Carlos Munoz, the leading scorer, able to convert. Got a little physical at times. Feinstra with it. A good stop there. And Marcel Leite putting on a pretty good display for the fans here in the first half. That was the assist, of course, on the restart goal by Munoz. That was a blast from three-point range that almost got in. Now, that was the power play goal. That would make it 10-2 at the time. Marcio striking that one well along the ground. And then, how about that for the finish? Right near the end of the half, off the assist from Fontana. That is some big-time skill right there.
Yeah, and other than the goal that Marcio scored from outside the box, the constant theme was goals inside the box. And I spoke with Coach Tozer today on the phone, asked him the keys, and he said one of the big keys for us is going to be to get to the box. We have not been getting ourselves dirty by getting into the opponent's penalty area, and they've done that quite well in this game, scoring 4, 5, 6 goals from inside St. Louis's penalty area.
See Keith Tozer standing alongside goalkeeper coach Mark Litton as they talk things over. From either coaching perspective, as you see Daryl Duran, what do you think they were saying to their teams respectively at halftime?
Well, so far so good for the Wave. I think coach has got to be pleased after a lengthy layoff for Christmas, stewing on a loss to Missouri. I think this has been very, very good. Coach Duran, once again, he's just got to be in teaching mode. He's focused on the score, then you know what, it's going to be a long season. As I said, every training session, every minute of every game is important that these younger players learn how to play this game.
St. Louis kicks off. They go left to right as we look at the action here in the third quarter. Milwaukee trying to clear the zone, and they do. Now Bennett keeps it going as he's 3-2 in the zone. Oliviero looking across, finds Pablo, fakes, shoots, scores. Oh, nicely done by Pablo to get it on that left foot and convert. Wave is on the board again, just 22 seconds into the third period. They lead it 18-2.
Now that's just a little bit too easy that time. Ambush slow to get back defensively. Then you see Pablo 1-against-1 against Brian Groark. And you see Groark allow Pablo to come inside.
Pablo's got his first goal of the year to go along with an assist for 3 points. And Giuliano Oliviero picks up the assist. And good look by Jules because he knew it was a 3-on-2 and that somebody was going to be over there on the far side. And he was able to find Pablo off the boards. And a nice finish there by the Brazilian. Pablo back with the Wave this year after he had spent the second half of last year with Chicago, where he was teammates with Carlos Munoz second half of last season. 18-2, and the Wave keeps it going now. They are now on a 14-point run since St. Louis got its only goal from Mike Roach midway through the first period to make it 4-2 at the time.
And the question I had in the first half has been answered, is Coach Duran is going to stick with having his troops kind of, in essence, park the bus in front of Jeff Ritchie, not going to come out in high pressure Milwaukee up the field. Once again, they play the Ambush, that is, tomorrow at home, 3:30 in St. Louis against Syracuse at the Family Arena.
it'll be a quick turnaround for the Ambush, quick turnaround also for Syracuse because they are playing in Independence tonight against the Comets in a game that still hasn't started. That one doesn't kick off until 7:35. So, quick turnaround for both teams. You're going to have some tired legs on the turf at the Family Arena in St. Charles. But certainly the Ambush, with the support of the home fans, and always tends to give you a little more energy.
Sure, and you'll see a better performance tomorrow from the Ambush. My mother, bless her heart, Tom, 77 years old, is a season ticket holder for the Ambush, along with my brother-in-law and sister. They love this team. They love the entertainment, played well at home. A lot of fun at the Family Arena.
12:45 to go here in the third quarter, and the Wave bringing it up in the black uniforms from right to left.
Wave owner Sue Blacks stopping up here in the booth to say hi. She said, "You're doing very well, Tom."
Well, I appreciate the compliment, and when you got a team like this, it's easy to look good, sound good, whatever we're doing. Now Munoz takes it away. Oh, good tackle there to the near wall as Mattingly stepped in to stop Munoz as it looked like Carlos was going to go by him on the near board. Speaking of visitors, we've got the entire Kramer family here tonight, it looks like. Is that right, Nadia, and all three of the girls here tonight?
All three of the girls. Mia 4, Layla 2, and Kayla 1.
2 more, and you can put together your own indoor soccer team out there in Brookfield.
Don't think that's going to be happening. we'll settle for just a forward line.
Well, at least you got a 3v3 team there that should be pretty cohesive. Here come the Ambush 2-on-1. Sinclair got around the defender, Kudos, but had it swept away. Kudos still battling over there. Sinclair trying to hold off both Fontana and Kudos, and he's eventually chopped down. Foul is called.
O'Dane Sinclair, the Ambush's leading scorer, continuing to battle, although they're down 18-2.
I'll tell you, I like this kid, though, Art, for what we've seen of him so far. Big, strong guy, and he's not afraid to take it in there as we check it out again.
Now, the one thing I'll say about O'Dane is he just needs to expand his game a little bit. His tendency is to want to turn and run at you. That 2v1, a prime example, needed to slow down a little bit.
Here's a breakout for the Wave following the Ambush restart. Ferreira trying to muck his way along the boards. And eventually the Ambush regained possession. Ritchie will throw it out. Pass ahead for Roach too far. He would have had a good chance to come in that time against Vainstrup. Kiddos looking long. Rampa trying to redirect with the header, but Ritchie's there.
Tenzin had more time than he thought that time. He could have pulled it down. Done a little bit more with that one.
Acosta with it. Looks up. He's got a couple defenders around him. Leite steps in to take it away. Rampa lost it in the middle. Oh, backheel attempt that time by Sol, knocked down. Sol now crossing to the right foot. Pablo, nice sliding effort to poke it away. Oh, good to see Sol back out there. He had been shaken up in the first half on that collision with Vainstrup, so hopefully he's going to be okay. As you pointed out, Art, there are not a lot of extra bodies to go around right now for the Ambush, so if you take a knock, you got to stay out there at least for the rest of this game. Mattingly will move it across. Oh, and a good blast that time by Sherman. Did not miss by much. Greenfield, nice job to control. Will slide it across to Liete. Wave will change up as Jonathan Greenfield circles with it. Jonathan, still just 31 years old. Seems like he's been around forever, but still a young man. Oh, nice little back heel there. Sends it in. Back heel attempt to Liviero, just wide. Great try there by Giuliano on the entry pass from Greenfield. And the Wave will cycle it back out. Milwaukee's had a couple of pretty flashy goals so far here tonight. Giuliano down the middle. McKinney lays it off! And the shot from J.C. Banks. Can't find the net.
Well, J.C. pinned himself up against the wall that time. If he would have taken a step off the wall, he would have had a better angle to finish.
Great look that time by McKinney. Here's J.C. again. He's got a goal tonight. In fact, he scored the goal that made it 4-0 after Pereira had put Milwaukee on top to start the game. Ritchie now lobbing downfield. Fabinho over to get it as he gets some pressure from Corey Adamson. Corey Adamson, number 4. Corey Dahl, number 5 for the ambush. In the pair of Corys. And Munoz again. I don't know what it is about Carlos, but that guy takes more hits, more solid hits from behind, and I guess that's what happened, Art. When you are one of the premier offensive players in the league, you're gonna draw some attention. But
absolutely,
he definitely takes his share of whacks from behind. There's no question about it. Now Vandergrift coming away, lost it, and as he tried to regain the possession, called for a handball.
Well, they just need to slow down a little bit on the ball. I like the group of defenders that Darryl has. McSheehy, Mattingly, Messley, Vandergrift. They've got a lot of good physical attributes. They need to slow themselves down, focus on their shape, and when they do get forward into the attack, they need to be a little bit better with the ball. But certainly a nice physical presence with the 4.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, Messley out for tonight's game. We did not get a report on his situation, ailment or otherwise. But as you said, Art, he really is their only defender with any kind of experience, having played for Wichita last year. So that would be huge if they can get him back in the lineup tomorrow for that game against Syracuse.
Scored a big 3-point goal to get it started for the ambush against Syracuse in one of their 2 wins. Scored another 3-point goal in their last game versus Missouri. One with the right foot and one with the left foot. So a big, strong boy that can shoot the ball with both feet, Mike Messley.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to mix it up there, based on what I've seen so far. Acosta, nice move there. Pass Vandergrift. They swing it around. Now Acosta gets it back to the near board. Pereira. Great job there. Well done by Nick as he comes upfield. Shrugs off the defender. Here comes a 3-on-1. Pereira coming in. Lays it off far side. Banks. Centering for Munoz. He just missed the connection.
And Carlos banging into that far post. Almost a picture-perfect 3-on-1 by the Wave that time.
Pereira launches from 3. That one high. Milwaukee has definitely had its share of additional scoring chances here in the third. Remember, it was 16-2 at halftime. Pablo got a goal 22 seconds into this period to make it 18-2. Ritchie finds Roach at midfield. Tried to lay it off far side for Adamson. Knocked away by the Wave. They'll cycle it back to Fainstrup. Ken Marcel was the scheduled starter, according to Keith Tozer's schedule as of late. And the intention was to come back with Nick Warburg on Tuesday. But, again, Nick is nursing a thumb right now that's giving him a few problems. So we'll have to see if, indeed, Warburg does come back to make the start on Tuesday, or perhaps it could be Fainstrup. Certainly Marcel has looked sharp tonight. And bidding for his second win of the year in 2 starts. Warburg has accumulated the other 3 victories for the Wave against just 1 defeat. Kudos starts it back. Nicely done to keep the possession. Now Pablo will push forward. 6 minutes left to go here in the third. Lays it off near side. Ian Bennett. Bennett! Shot! Save Ritchie! Oh, he got the left hand down at the last possible second to make that save.
Good reaction save that time by Jeff Ritchie. That ball was headed for the lower left corner.
Now Sinclair trying to come 3-2, and shot turned away by Feinstra. He was outside the box, so he couldn't use his hands. kept alive. Adamson centers across. Pablo will track it down, nudge it up ahead. Tenzin Rampo with it. And the foul eventually going to be called against Tenzin. Rampa in his 6th season. Madison native who played his college ball at UW Milwaukee. Speaking of Marcel Feenstra, in his 7th season with the Wave as he turns that one aside on the blast by Hobson, I believe it was. Marcel looking for his 45th career win tonight. All with the Wave. 44-11 coming in. Very impressive career record for Marcel Feenstra. Wave cycling the possession at midfield. Vandegrift with a bit of a bump there on Leite. He'll draw the foul. Remember, the MISL, you get 3 personal fouls in each half. On your 4th, your team gives up a 2-minute power play. As you look at Chad Vandegrift. Let's take a look at Keith Tozer. Keith, by the way, looking for career victory number 735 tonight. That's regular season and playoff with all the teams that he's coached with. Louisville, Los Angeles, Atlanta, and now Milwaukee. Keith in his 22nd season at the helm of the Wave. By far the all-time leading winner in the history of professional indoor soccer. The next guy up, Kenny Cooper with 465. He and Ron Newman, I believe, both at 465. And Keith he's on his way to practically doubling those guys.
Well, has his team well prepared for this game here tonight. Anytime you give a Keith Tozer a couple weeks to prepare for a game, odds are they're going to come out very sharp, and I'm very impressed with the ball movement of the Wave tonight. Just quick, sharp passing, great movement off the ball.
Walls to Leite. Marcio tried to slip the pass through, broken up. Back comes Roach for St. Louis as he plays it to the near side. Tim Vance with it. Took a little bump from Greenfield, but gets it back to Jeff Ritchie. Ritchie made his MISL debut with the old Chicago Storm. Didn't become an MISL regular until he was 30 years old. But he's put together a pretty good career since then. Foul going to be called on, looks like Judson McKinney.
The ambush making a change down there on the restart, which you're not allowed to do, and they're going to have to send a player off. This might be a time for Coach Duran to take a timeout with only 4 players on the floor, try to set up a restart.
Yeah, if they call timeout, then they can put the 5th guy back on. But normally you can't change after a foul. You have to wait till the ball's put back in play.
Well, and now they're... I think once that player... surprised he's able to come back on the field.
I'm surprised about that as well.
And indeed, Coach Duran's going to take a timeout.
So with 3:12 left to go here in the third quarter, Wave on top by the score of 18-2. You look at Daryl Duran huddling the troops. Again, Milwaukee will be right back here at the Cell this upcoming Tuesday, December 31st, for a 2 o'clock kickoff against the Syracuse Silver Knights. Call the Wave office for tickets, 414-224-WAVE, or check it out at MilwaukeeWave.com. The New Year's Eve Day game, always one of the highlights on the Wave's home schedule. We should have another nice crowd, but still tickets available. So make sure to call or go online and get your tickets for Tuesday's game. It should be a good battle between the Wave and the rising Syracuse Silver Knights. And then after the Wave goes on the road to take on St. Louis at the St. Charles, or at the Family Arena in St. Charles on January 4th, they'll be right back here at the U.S. Cellular Arena Saturday, January 11th, for a 6 o'clock game against the Rochester Lancers, led by former Wave star and now in his first year as head coach, Josh White. So, and of course, Rochester featuring the dynamic scoring duo of Doug Miller at Mauricio Salas. Now, Miller has been out with injury, but I think he expects to be back by that time. And, of course, Salas always a major force as well, the big forward. So make your plans to get out here and check it out. 414-224-WAVE, the number to call for tickets. Or you can also order online at MilwaukeeWave.com.
The Wave with a two-man wall here. The ball just outside the three-point arc. You get Addison, number 4, is the front man. Michael Roach, the back man.
Adamson will step over as Roach will send it in the left foot. Spinning against the glass. A good job by Feinster to get the arms up. Cleared downfield. It went out of bounds. Ambush will restart it. St. Louis at 2-4 coming in. 1-2 on the road. Wave 4-1 coming in. And this is just their second home game. One thing that bodes well for the Wave is that they still have 8 home games remaining in the regular season after this. Most of the other clubs have already played at least 3 or 4 home games. Tony Walls brings it up for a nice back heel leave. And the blast turned away. Munoz. Good save there by Ritchie as Carlos got a good piece of that one. Munoz trying to see if he can get another one for the hat trick. Both he and Fabinho sitting on 2 goals tonight.
Saw that touch by Pereira on the layoff to Munoz. What a nice soft touch by the big fella for the Wave. This team looks very comfortable out here this evening, Tom.
Well, as you said, Art, they've been moving the ball great.
Yeah.
Excellent execution on offense, and if not for some good saves by Jeff Ritchie, they could easily have racked up another 3-4 goals up to this point. Tony Walls got called for the foul there. Again, Tony, the rookie out of Toast East High School in Unity Green Bay, making his home debut for the Wave tonight. He had to sit out the first home game because of a red card. Now here he comes back the other way. Drives one in, the save made. Walls, nice header out front. Munoz. There's the hat trick for Carlos. Wave leads it 20-2. And a great assist by Tony Walls.
Well, good awareness that time by Tony Walls after the initial shot was saved by Ritchie. Walls with a one-time header to Munoz, and then Carlos with the big left foot.
Munoz working on a 6-point night. His 3rd goal of the evening, all 2-pointers. And Walls with the assists. Interesting, Art, the Wave, 10 goals tonight, no 3-pointers. They led the league in 3-pointers with 8 coming in to tonight's game. St. Louis was second in the league with 6. In fact, St. Louis has not allowed a 3-pointer so far this year. The one thing that's kept the ambush above water, I guess, is the fact they've been able to pump in the 3-ball and they haven't allowed any. Both the Wave and the ambush, plus 6 in the 3-point category. And typically, if you're doing well in that category, in the 3-point differential, you're going to do well for the season.
Well, I haven't looked at Ritchie's stats over the years, but doesn't seem like a guy that's going to give away a lot of 3-point shots. His quickness, his acrobatic ability, his shot-stopping ability, very, very good from long range. It's when the defenders allow players to get into the area that Jeff's going to struggle, as are most keepers in indoor soccer.
But I'd have to agree with you. As far as just shot-stopping ability, he's about as good as there is in this league. .50 seconds to go here in the 3rd period. Wave led it 8-2 at the end of the first, 16-2 at halftime, and now 20-2. Ambush trying to see if they can stop a 16-point Milwaukee run at this stage. Roach gets tangled up between Rampa and Fabinho. One of the Wave defenders going to get called for the foul. They're going to charge Fabinho as there you see Tenzin Rampa. Once again, Tenzin inserted in the lineup and doing a fine job for Keith Dozier. Acosta will lay it back out. Vandergrift. Now Ritchie. Coming down to the last 15 seconds of the 3rd quarter. first of 6 meetings this year between the Wave and the Ambush. Next time will be January 4th in St. Louis, more specifically the Family Arena in St. Charles. And the shot at the buzzer put up by Sherman. And so another good period for the Wave as you see Marcel Feenstra going over to the bench, take a little break. At the end of 3, it is the Milwaukee Wave 20, the St. Louis Ambush 2. We will come back with the fourth quarter after this. This is Wave Soccer.
All right, everybody, let's make some noise for your Milwaukee Wave. All right, we've got a check presentation right now. The Milwaukee Wave does a lot of awesome things right here in the community. And we have owner Stu Black of the Milwaukee Wave. Let's give a big round of applause. And Wave of Hope board member John Bospis with today's check presentation. John?
Dan, on behalf of the Wave of Hope, of the charitable foundation of the Milwaukee Wave, I want to present you with this check on your behalf. Thank you. And please talk about Best Buddies. Thank you.
On behalf of Best Buddies, we appreciate this check, Wave of Hope and Stu Black. We encourage everyone to go to bestbuddieswisconsin.org and really support a great cause for developmental needs, and we're looking to employ more students and be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you. That organization, again, was Best Buddies, bestbuddieswisconsin.org. Now we're going to have a bike giveaway. Who wants to win a brand new bike? So don't forget, we've teamed up with Wheel and Sprocket. We are giving away a brand new bike at every home game, a brand new Trek 820. What we need to do is see if this beautiful young lady can make a goal to win a brand new Trek 820 from Wheel and Sprocket. All right, what's your name?
Amy.
Amy, do you play soccer?
No.
Do you think you can make this goal?
Yes.
At least you have boots on. All right, let's give Amy a round of applause. Amy, in 3, 2, 1, try to make that goal.
Yeah!
Amy won the bike. All right, don't forget, every Wave game we give away a brand new bike with Trek and Wheel and Sprocket. Congratulations, Amy.
It's been virtually all Wave so far as they lead St. Louis 20-2 heading into the fourth quarter. Let's take a look at Carlos Munoz, who's already got the hat trick tonight. And he's done it in a couple different ways. There was a restart off a free kick. There's a follow-up there off the inboard pass from Oliviero. Both those goals coming in the first half. And then this one in the third after a nice assist from Tony Walls. Hat trick already for Munoz. No question, Mark, there were high expectations for this young man coming in based on what we saw last year when he played from Chicago. He has certainly shown that he picked right up where he left off last year after a fine rookie campaign. And right off the bat, Milwaukee with a chance. McKinney trying to follow up. It's up into the stands, and I believe they're going to give it to St. Louis. No touch by the Ambush, so Wave right off the bat coming in with a great chance as you look at Jeff Ritchie. Boy, he's seen the Wave have some great chances against him tonight so far.
Never going to hear that guy complain right there, Jeff Ritchie. Great save that time on Giuliano Oliviero after Liete had set him up at the far post. But you mentioned Carlos Munoz, and you put a guy like Carlos Munoz along with Luan Oliveira and Marcio Liete, and that is just a potent second forward combination they have. Those three players running in the second forward position, I mean, all three are just extremely dynamic. Tough for teams to deal with when you've got all three of those players coming one shift after another at you from that position.
Again, LSO not playing tonight. Scratch due to coach's decision.
a healthy scratch. So you draw your own conclusions from that. But I'll tell you what, you know, the Milwaukee Wave has always been about team. It's not one player. And Coach Tozer wouldn't elaborate on why he's not in the lineup, but this club has proven over the years that it doesn't matter who's wearing the uniform, that they're going to go out and perform.
And they certainly have tonight. As Wave again working it left to right here in the fourth period.
You know, Victor Noguera left, and people said the Wave wasn't going to win it anymore, and they did. Michael King retired. They said the Wave wasn't going to win anymore. They did. Greg Howes retired. They said the Wave wasn't going to win anymore, and they did. So the names have changed, but the club has continued to roll on.
Oh, beautifully done. As kudos off the nice feed from Nick Pereira, and the Wave leads it 22-2. Check it out again.
Look at the skill there by Victor Quiros, the Wave defender, getting out of the back after a nice feed from Nick Pereira.
Victor Quiros, in his first year with the Wave, his 11th indoor season overall. And Victor's got his first goal as a member of the Wave, picked up an assist earlier tonight. Nick Pereira gets the helper. And for Nick, his second assist of the night, 6th of the year. And it's all going for the Wave tonight. Pereira scored the opening goal in this contest. Now on a 4-point night with a 2-point goal and 2 assists.
And as I said before, just a different dimension in the Wave back line than we've seen in past years. You think about guys like Troy Dosowski, Joe Hamas, Josh Reif, J.P. Rodriguez. Big, strong, physical guys. Now you're looking at guys like Victor Quiros, Pablo, Tony Walls, smaller, more technical players. You give up one area, the physicality, but you certainly add a lot of technical ability in that Wave defense.
Well, and I think certainly with guys like Judson McKinney and Walls, you're not sacrificing too much physically. And they both certainly have decent speed for bigger guys. But again, not quite the experience at this point, but they certainly appear like they're picking up pretty well. As you see Carlos Munoz there, drew the foul.
And once again, a credit to Coach Keith Tozer. Just the names I just mentioned, Troy Dosowski, Joe Hamas, Josh Reif, superstars of the indoor game. And yet they leave, other players come in, and this club does not miss a beat. Credit Coach Tozer and his preparation of the players that he has in Milwaukee.
Well, there's no doubt about it, Art, because you're not only talking from a coaching standpoint, you're talking from a scouting, recruiting, evaluation standpoint as well. And Keith has always consistently been able to bring in big-time talent and then develop it as well as a coach, not only individually, but certainly from the team concept.
Well, one thing Coach Tozer will not allow a player to do is to get in the comfort zone. Doesn't matter what the situation is. He wants his players to be happy, but he doesn't want them to be comfortable. And there's something to be said for that. Competition within the team. Coming with a goal each day to training.
Oh, nice move there. Coming in is Kimball with a shot off the mark. Oh, he made a great move at the line coming in, but could not quite finish. Ambush, as I talked about, averaging 10, giving up 15 per game coming in, actually averaging 10.7. And even without some of their veteran offensive guys in the lineup tonight, Art, still very impressive for the Wave to hold up just the 2 points up to this point.
Yeah, and had the ambush come out and high pressured a little bit here in the second half, you probably would have seen a few more goals. But you can't argue with the decision from Coach Duran having that big game tomorrow against Syracuse.
Yeah, and when you break it down, basically Milwaukee, Baltimore, Missouri, those are your big three of the MISL. The battle's going to come for that fourth spot, and really it's more than likely St. Louis, Syracuse, Rochester who are going to fight for that spot. So like you said, that is a huge game. St. Louis already having the advantage in that series, having defeated Syracuse in Syracuse earlier this year.
We just had a look at two of the former MISL greats, Keith Tozer and Coach Daryl Duran.
Darrell has played more games than anybody else. 827, I believe, is the figure. And Keith has coached more than anybody else.
And Keith actually coached Darrell on a number of occasions with the U.S. national futsal team, and I believe he coached Darrell in Los Angeles with the Lasers.
Yes, he did.
In the old MISL.
Yeah, he sure did. And he said Darrell was like a coach on the field. We got a whistle on the field, and is this going to be too many men?
No, Coach Tim Tima having a word down there with Brian Sell. And a little frustration setting in for the ambush.
There you got to look at Brian. He took a knock in the first half. Bounce back. Saying what? I didn't say anything.
And now Tim Team has had enough. And Brian's going to go to the box with a yellow card. And now he's going to be tossed, which is not smart because you've got a game tomorrow. And with that red card, you will not be playing tomorrow. And Tim Team is going to open the door for Brian Sell.
Brian Sell.
Yeah.
Getting a little too worked up over there.
And it's not easy to get under the skin of Tim Tima. I mean, if there's one guy who will give you the benefit of the doubt and let you go, it's that guy right there, Tim Tima.
Timmy, a former player. And, of course, Tim, before he became an official, he was most noted for, among other things, being one of the all-time leading penalty minute accumulators of all time, which is probably why he's become such a good official. But, no, like you said, Art, Tim is going to be probably as lenient or understanding of the frustrations of the players yelling at the officials as anybody. So you got to believe that his tipping point was pushed for a while by Brian Sell.
Yeah, and Brian's just has to be smart of that. I get it. You're frustrated. You're down 20 points. But there is tomorrow, and tomorrow is Syracuse. And now, with that, he will be out of that game versus Syracuse.
Yeah, that is not the most timely red card, I'm sure, because the ambush again, already with several guys out of the lineup, short-handed as it is.
Well, if you count the players down there on the bench with Smuggs, Joe Smugala, the assistant coach, and Coach Duran, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ambush players on the bench with Coach Duran.
As you see Duran look it on. Frustrating night for Brian Sell and the St. Louis ambush.
And that's where you miss a guy like Di Maria. Because I guarantee you Jeff Di Maria probably gets in Brian's face and says, hey, listen, young man, back off, okay? Now's not the time. And really to understand the bigger picture, which is that game tomorrow.
Well, Wave getting a power play because of the red card. Time of the penalty was at 4:52, so that'd be 10:08. They haven't put the penalty time up, but they've still got about 1:20 to go with the man advantage. Milwaukee 1 for 1 in the power play tonight. Liete fires one underneath the crossbar. Second time tonight, Marcio's.
Well, once again, you know he's going right. He's not going left. He's just not. And so you got to overplay that right foot.
Well, some guys have made a career going one way.
Yeah.
Gino DeFlorio, I thought, was the classic example, a left footer who had no right foot, but somehow always seemingly got to his left. You could argue Joe Reiniger, somewhat of the same, but Joe had a little bit of right foot utilization.
Now that's where watching tape, hours and hours of tape, are going to help these players from St. Louis. Because if you're Corey Adamson, you've got to know that Marcio Liete is going to his right foot. And if you allow him to go to his left, when Jeff Ritchie's going to come up with the save, but certainly don't allow him to go to his right.
Still about 30 seconds left on the Wave power play. Milwaukee zone to the left. Oliviero, Liete, Quiros, Bennett, and Munoz. And the shot and the goal, Carlos Munoz, number 4. And I believe it was Bennett with the assist. 24-2, Milwaukee. Now they're going to say Liete on the assist. And let's see if the replay bears it out. Oh, yeah. That was Leite.
Clinical finish that time by Munoz. Once again, Richie with no chance.
Munoz having a night. 4 goals, 10 on the season. And Marcio Leite having a pretty good night himself. Marcio with a pair of goals. And he's also got 2 assists. Wave now 2 for 2 on the power play. 4 for 9 this year. And the Ambush, they've had a bit of a struggle with their penalty killing. They've now allowed 6 goals in just 14 times shorthanded. So they're barely killing them off at 50%, a little more than 50%.
They're underway in Missouri, Tom, and the Silver Knights with a quick goal to go up 2-0.
Well, we'll have to see if Nick Vassos and Jimmy Schwab, the fine broadcast crew for the Missouri Comets, can bring them back tonight. Looks like a pretty good crowd on hand there at the Independence Event Center.
And then before Syracuse had time to enjoy their goal, Nelson Santana sent off for a Comet power play here.
Leite trying to get through, had it broken up. Ambush back the other way. Here's Sinclair. Touches off. Sherman with a shot. That one wide. Rebound. Follow! And the shot by Mance broken up. Feenstra got just a fingertip to deflect that one away. Timmy Vance, the rookie out of Lewis University, thought for sure he had a goal there.
Now that's twice that Feenstra has robbed Vance tonight.
Vandegrift. Oh, nice touch far side, and Roach puts one just up over the bar. Boy, Ambush hasn't had a lot of great chances tonight, but they've had a few here. Just have not been able to put another one past Feenstra since Roach bagged his second of the year at 7:48 in the first period. That made the score 4-2 at the time. Since that time, the Wave has scored 20 straight. But send it to Elizabeth.
This is Grace, who's 10 years old, celebrating a birthday at the Wave game. These are her classmates and some friends she plays soccer with. So what position do you play?
Forward.
And what do you think of the Milwaukee Wave?
I love it.
She loves it. Let's give a big round of applause. And to everyone else celebrating a birthday, happy birthday from the Milwaukee Wave.
As we take a look at some of our birthdays here tonight, and I'm sure most of the birthday people, you know, it's Brian Sales, son of Wave trainer Larry Sales, celebrating a birthday here tonight. I'm sure they are enjoying the score of this game as take a look at our groups as well. Well, I'm not sure we anticipated a blowout of this proportion tonight, Art, but I think we were both expecting the Wave to come out and play pretty well, and they certainly have.
Well, their attention to detail has been very, very good. We said that the quick ball movement off the ball, good player movement, good spacing were going to be keys, and the Wave has hit on all 3 areas offensively.
Roach plays it across. Shot off the mark that time. Taken by Kyle Hobson. Hobson, a rookie out of Missouri State. The MSU Bears down in Springfield. Ritchie comes out to clear it away. Hobson looks like one of those guys, if he would have been a high school running back, Art, could have just plowed through the line with guys just draped over him trying to get him down. Little bulky guy. Rampa shot off the mark. Oh, Munoz bid for number 5, and what a save by Ritchie. Great reaction save by Jeff to go down with the left hand and turn it away.
And the Wave has worn St. Louis out with those balls off the backboard. Couple goals on those, and another fine ball that time by Rampa.
Ambush have really only had one other blowout loss. That was the second game of the year when Missouri came to St. Charles and beat them 28-7. Shot by Sherman is high and wide. But other than that, they haven't been beat up too bad in the games that they've lost. Missouri did beat them 24-13, but that game was a little bit closer than the final score indicated.
Well, it just goes to show how important their veteran players are for that team. You take Mike Messley out of the back. He's their most experienced defender. You take Elvir Kavedzik out of the midfield. He's their most experienced midfielder, along with Di Maria. You take Di Maria out of the midfield. Then you take out Dan Antoniuk off the forward line. You're missing your experience in every position on the field.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, Ambush hoping they can get at least one of those guys back for tomorrow's game against Syracuse. As they check out this last foul there, they're going to call it on McKinney, I guess, for holding, even though it seemed like he took the worst of that with O'Dane Sinclair. Restart coming. Wave breaks it up. Wave has done a great job defending against the restarts tonight. Munoz, 1-on-3. Carlos looking for number 5. Coming in, shot high. Still 5 minutes left to go in this one. Bennett at midfield. Took a knock from Sinclair. Foul is called. I'll tell you, Dane Sinclair, he is a big guy out there. And we talked about Art. Once he learns the indoor game a little more, learns the nuances, he could become quite a force for these Ambush. Oh, what a save by Feinstra on the backheel attempt by Roach. I don't know how he ever saw it.
Yeah, Marcel's been sharp when he's needed to be. But getting back to O'Dane Sinclair, a guy like Dan Antonio can teach O'Dane so much, because Dan's a player who likes to play with his back to goal, and that's the one thing that O'Dane needs to do to expand his game.
Bennett coming to the near side. Yeah, pull out the tapes of Mark Moser. Show O'Dane how to...
Mark Moser, Steve Maurer, Steve Kuntz. You're going to play target forward in this league. You've got to learn how to play with your back to the goal. O'Dane right now, very one-dimensional. Get it, turn, and he's done it well. He's done it quite well, but the more tape that the guys around the league watch on him, he's going to become very predictable. So if he can add that other aspect to his game, to be strong with his back to the goal, learn from a guy like Dan Antoniuk, work on it daily in training, he'll get better. He won't be so predictable.
24 points for Milwaukee tonight, their season high. Previous high had been 23 in that 23-21 overtime victory over Missouri to start the year. And really what will have to go down as one of the most epic season opening games in Wave history, as they rallied back from a 21-15 deficit in the last 3 minutes. 3 straight sixth attacker goals have tied up, and then the game winner in overtime from Ian Bennett, who scored the last 2 goals in regulation. Wave now 20-10 all-time in season openers and 20-10 all-time in home season openers by virtue of their comeback victory over the Baltimore Blast.
You look at the makeup of this league, Tom. Missouri, Baltimore, Milwaukee, the 3 most experienced teams in the league. No surprise that they're the 3 best teams. There's really no substitute for experience in this league. You've got Rochester and Syracuse, 2 relatively new teams. You got to say they're the 4th and 5th best teams in the league, and then you got St. Louis and Pennsylvania, and St. Louis is stronger than Pennsylvania. So with the experience is the way this league shapes up.
Oh, Roach, great conversion there. And he's got his second of the night, and the Ambush have their second goal of the night. And they break the 20-point run for Milwaukee. It's now 24-4. Time of the goal at 12:25. Take a look at this conversion.
Yep, just inside the 3-point arc, and that ball off the back wall and off Feenstra's back and then in. See Roach wearing the captain's armband with Jeff Di Maria out, but here's another guy, Michael Roach, that could really use a guy like Joe Reiniger to teach him the intricacies of the restarts, because he's a guy that Coach Daryl Duran is going to have on the ball for restarts quite often this year, along with Di Maria.
Left footer, just like Reiniger.
Can he pull out some old tapes of Joe Reiniger and see some of the things that Joe did on the ball as a lefty?
McKinney drives it in, and Retchie goes down to make the save. Well, I'll tell you one thing about Judson McKinney. From what we've seen, Art, this is a guy who can really strike the ball from long range. Of course, he had that huge three-pointer in the home opener that tied it up against Baltimore.
Look at that shot. Knuckle a little bit, and Richie with the left hand. Don't know if he saw that shot. He might have been screened by Corey Adamson in front.
Native out of Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, and as we said, played his college soccer at Cincinnati. Oh, shot by Munoz, deflected and almost spun in the net. And we're going to get a foul call on Pereira as he was battling with Sinclair. Minute 57 left to go. And there it is. The upcoming home game against Syracuse. That should be 2 p.m. 2 p.m. should be the starting time on New Year's Eve day. That's the annual New Year's Eve day game. 2 p.m. starting time. Wave against the Syracuse Silver Knights. Call the Wave office for tickets, 414-224-WAVE. Or you can also order online at MilwaukeeWave.com.
Good job tonight by the referees, Ryan Sigich and Tim Tima. I thought other than the missed call in the first half when Sell got taken down by Feenstra, I thought they did a really good job.
Two veteran officials, two of the best in the MISL, and they kept things under control here tonight.
And then, once again, I think in all the years that I've called games and have watched Tim Tima referee, I don't think I've ever seen him send anyone off for misconduct. So whatever Brian Sell had to say to Tim was enough for Timmy to pull that red card.
Yeah, I agree. That might be a first, at least based on what we've seen. 45 seconds to go. So Milwaukee's going to get back on the winning track to go to 5-1. And that will put them in a momentary tie with Syracuse for the top spot in the Major Indoor Soccer League standings. Of course, Syracuse battling Missouri right now. So either Syracuse is going to win to go to 6-1 or Missouri is going to go to win 5-1. That means the Wave will be tied with Missouri. And the Wave is finally going to put their foot on the ball here. Great victory here tonight. As you see Ian Bennett on the ball, backing up, fans giving the Wave a standing ovation here. And Milwaukee will look to close out the 2013 portion of their schedule with another big game against the Syracuse Silver Knights this upcoming Tuesday, New Year's Eve day. Keith Tozer and the players shaking hands. And we will look forward to Tuesday's game here against Syracuse. Carlos Munoz, our offensive player of the game tonight, 4 goals. And credit goalkeeper Marcel Feenstra and the rest of the Wave defense. Good team defensive effort tonight to hold the ambush down to just 4 points.
Well, I'll give a lot of credit to Keith Tozer, too, for having this team well prepared to go out there tonight and play quite well.
Brad Beach was dancing up a storm. That was Victor Kudos getting his first goal of the year off the assist from Nick Pereira that opened the scoring in the fourth quarter and made the score 22-2 at the time. Wave led it 8-2 at the end of one, 16-2 at halftime, 22 going into the third period. And here's Brian Sell, as Art said, maybe the first time we've ever seen Tim Tima give anybody a red card for dissent. Picked up 2 yellows in one shot to get the red. Wave kept it going. That was Munoz getting his 4th of the night. Carlos very close to scoring a couple more. Could have had 5 or perhaps 6 goals tonight. Great save by Jeff Ritchie right there, stopping him.
Well, you can't fault Jeff Ritchie. I mean, he gave up, 12 goals? And how many saves did he make tonight?
Officially, I'm not sure, but probably had at least a couple of dozen. And again, Wave with a big win tonight. There is our next home game, and that is the official time, 2 o'clock. Hope to see you out here, fans. Again, go to MilwaukeeWave.com or call 414-224-WAVE. So, for my colleague, Wave Hall of Famer Art Kramer, Tom Wynn, wishing you a good one. Final score, Wave 24, Ambush 4. We'll see you here New Year's Eve Day.